All right then. And we are live with another episode of
Live.
BS Busters. Or as Lakeside says, it's all the way live. So with that being said, let's everyone introduce themselves. Starting with the lady, then the gentleman, and then we'll dive into it. Go ahead, ladies
Well,
first.
okay.
Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I'm Jory Moonstar, welcoming you to the BS Busters of October of 2021.
This
And oh,
Kenosha,
brother, do we have some trouble for you?
this Kenosha Omnito. Glad to be on another one of these BS Busters.
Glad you're here. Um, and of course, it's me, Mr. Red Fox. So let's dive into some of the cool shit we've got planned for tonight's cast. So our topics for tonight's cast are going to be TGS news, major news of the week in gaming, 2D series that desperately need 3D games, and this topic was created in light of the new Kirby game coming out. I think it's coming out next year. The Kirby and the Lost Island or whatever.
Spring
Uh,
2021. Two, yeah.
yeah. And I was like, oh wow, this is the 3D Kirby game we always wanted, but we just never got. So finally, we're getting one. Um, October games we're looking forward to because there's a lot of stuff coming out this month. Because we're getting October is the start of the fall holiday season for games coming out. So there's a lot of stuff. It's a flood of games. And nominating our a-hole of the week. But before we go any further, let's get our announcements out the way. You guys have any announcements you want to make? Any things you're working on that you want to get out to people?
Working on gonna start up a podcast next week, next Tuesday. Be the first podcast. I don't have really a name for it, but we'll be talking about the Nintendo problem. That's Nintendo online problem, chip shortages,
Hmm.
uh, and Switch rumors won't die, and more. So yeah,
Yeah, Switch rumors won't die because they're like the undead. Even when you shoot them in the head, they keep on coming back. It's like I killed you. You died. It's like that chick who
They,
was a man from the
yeah,
second Austin Powers, where like Austin Powers throws the chick out the window, and she falls like, "Why won't you die? Die!" Switch rumors will still persist. Um, like that song from Club Nouveau, Rumors.
they're like zombies.
They just won't end. So yeah. I'm working on later in this month. Leading into November, I'm thinking of doing our Game of the Year lists early, just to get it out the way, so they can be more in depth. Um, so yeah, start working on Game of the Year because we're almost to the end of the year, folks. We're on the latter end of 2021 at this point, and so it's time to start putting together. We're in the 10th month of the year. Okay, Christmas and Thanksgiving just around the
Just
corner.
hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
So
We'll make it.
so we got to start getting the Game of the Year together. So that's going to be fun. I also released a new video today, um, and it's about my ideal Star Wars MMO experience, the ultimate, in my opinion. But it's only part one because it's going to be in multiple parts. The next part will be classes and such. But before we go but enough about that. Let's get into this news. Tokyo Game Show. Yes. I mean, it's it's a thing. It came out this month. A lot of people are looking forward to it. I um I mean,
You heard some good things that came up in there?
I mean, there's some cool stuff in here. For example, right here, the Square Enix announcement. They had their little direct, because everyone these days are just stealing Nintendo's ideas. They're good ones, at least. So here we have Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin gets a release date and demo. So it's going to come out March 18th, 2022. And it is basically a Final Fantasy spin-off being developed by Team Ninja. Because when you think Final Fantasy, a turn-based JRPG, you think Team Ninja, a studio that makes nothing but fucking action games. And they showed off a nice little trailer that ended with that dude bro looking pretty boy character saying, "My name is Jack Garland." And given that basically Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is kind of like a spin-off game based on the original Final Fantasy, the first one where the villain was Garland. So basically the lead character is Jack and the antagonist is Final Fantasy I's Garland. So there's some type of connection between the two. Maybe father and son, brothers, I don't know. But there you go, folks. Square Enix, completely bankrupt with no new ideas.
At least they did not try to milk Final Fantasy VII again.
I mean, that's the only upside. Kenoshi, you have any thoughts on it?
Not entirely. It just looks like a cheap Souls game. I remember seeing it at E3, and I was like, "What?" I remember you were like, "This game's appalling," and then I looked at the trailer. I was like, "What is this? What is this nonsense? Why are you turning Final Fantasy into a Souls game?"
I'm gonna keep it real. If it didn't have Final Fantasy on it, I probably would just say this looks like a generic Souls clone. But the fact that they put Final Fantasy, and this is supposed to be a spin-off game from the original Final Fantasy, I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Why? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why do you keep on milking that Final Fantasy teat? It's dry. There's nothing coming out. Not even powdered milk at this point.
I was going to make the joke that Final Fantasy has been milked harder than the Street Fighter series.
Yeah, but the Street Fighter series hasn't been milked all that hard. You've got 5 games plus spin-offs, but the spin-offs added enough new mechanics that they felt kind of new. But with Final Fantasy, like, I wouldn't mind if they milked Final Fantasy more. It's just they specifically keep on milking Final Fantasy 7, and then it was 13. Now it's 15. I mean, at least now they're moving on to different games in the franchise to bastardize. So, you know, it's your turn, Final Fantasy 1.
So, if anything, I was just about to say that if I'm trying to figure out how badly it got milked, and a few of the comparisons I make might be off, because
Mega Man got milked. Sonic got milked.
Skylanders got
not really
milked.
Not really. Skylanders got pimped out until they figured out people weren't spending their money on that trick on the street, and they were like, well, I gotta let you go. That was Skylanders. It's a completely different thing. Like, Final Fantasy is milked like no other franchise. I mean, you could say Mario, but almost every Mario game, even the ones that are kind of cheap cash grabs, have something redeemable about them. But there's been Final Fantasy spin-offs where I'm like, I don't get it. What's the point? But that's neither here nor there. Let's keep it moving. So basically, our next topic is Hiroyuki Ito. Now, you might not know who Hiroyuki Ito is, but he's making a new game for Square Enix. Now, for those of you, like, why should I care?
Is there a game that we could link to him?
There's multiple games that you can link to him. And if you're a Final Fantasy fan and you're like, man, I remember when Final Fantasy games were good, Here's the games that he was the director on. So he's got some street cred. Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy XII. He's also the man who created the active time battle system. And he's revealed the latest game he's working on, a dungeon exploration RPG called Dungeon Encounters. His first project in some time. And this is his quote. He says, "It had been a while since I was directly involved in development, so I was trying to remember how I did it for a while there," Ito said during the presentation. The trailer showed characters walking on a grid, unlocking ability points for reaching certain sections. A bar at the top left of the screen shows what floor the player is on, their position, and how many steps have been taken. Players occasionally have to fight monsters in the trailer, also hints that there are a number of characters to choose from. You won't have to wait long to play this unique-looking title. It will be released on October 14th, and we already have a hands-on preview. So I'm not gonna lie, even if the game kind of sucked, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looked interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. Probably have to see a little bit more. Kind of, you know.
I have to agree with Kenoshi on this one. It's a weird thing, but it looks pretty neat.
You know, the fact that it's Hiroyuki Ito and he was the director of some of my favorite Final Fantasies, or, you know, even after the age of Final Fantasy going kind of downhill, you know, there was still some redeeming features in the games he directed. I kind of give the benefit of the doubt. I'll probably get this game if it's not exorbitantly expensive, because Square Enix likes to price their games a little bit higher than they should. But that's my own personal opinion. Then they showed a new story trailer for the game with the worst fucking name I've ever heard. The game called Triangle Strategy.
Shaggy.
That's just a stupid ass name. I'm sorry, that is a dumb ass name.
Hey, we've heard worse names.
No, we haven't. Like some people say, well, this is from the same studio that made Octopath Traveler, but that game makes sense because every Octopath, there's literally 8 playable characters. Each character has their own journey that is, you know, that all of them fit together, but all of them have their own perspective on what's going on. And each character, the letter of the first name of every character is the letter in Octopath. There's Ulbrich, Katarina. Well, I forgot all the names. Basically, that's how they got the title, Octopath Traveler. That's it. It's very simple. Triangle Strategy is like, what? Jesus, that is a stupid name. But for having such a stupid name, the game looks awesome. It looks like Final Fantasy Tactics, like a new Final Fantasy Tactics. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that name is pretty dumb. I don't know. But it does look really good. Like I said before, it's like somebody, they wrote somebody decided to write a story, they just decided to make the characters, and they decided to build the world and the mechanics. And then they were like, well, at the final hour, they're like, we need a name for this game. It's like, we'll just call it Project Triangle Strategy or Triangle Strategy. And they're like, all right, whatever. And shipped it out.
yeah, basically. So yeah, that's my that's the announcements they've had thus far. And I mean, like I said, the game is basically Final Fantasy Tactics with their HD 2D engine that they developed for Octopath Traveler. Now, I've also heard that they're making a sequel to Octopath Traveler, which I'm happy for. this is not the sequel to Octopath Traveler. This is them taking that engine and doing something else with it. So, you know, if you can get past that, I guess that's cool. So, you know, Eiyuden Chronicles, the action RPG spinoff, or sorry, Eiyuden Chronicles, the kickstarted game made by the team that used to make Suikoden for Konami. They also announced an action spin-off game, and you know, I'm okay with that. I mean, we haven't had a Suikoden in years. Konami clearly doesn't give a fuck about the franchise, so if if the original team wants to get together and essentially make a Suikoden game, but not call it Suikoden because they don't have the rights, I'm all okay with it. It's all right in my opinion. As they used to say, it's okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it. You guys have any thoughts on the Eiyuden Chronicles getting a spin-off before the main game has come out yet?
Well, Konami's gonna mess it up anyways.
Well, this isn't from Konami. This is from the original developers. A lot of the developers who worked on the original Suikoden games who left Konami had released a Kickstarter where they got some of the funding to make a Suikoden-esque game, but they can't use the Suikoden title because they don't own that IP. But they basically are making it's basically a Suikoden game. I mean, imagine if some of the people at Intelligent System said, "Fuck it, we're tired of this shit," and they left and they said, "We're making a Paper Mario game. You liked old school Paper Mario that had RPG mechanics and party members. We're making that, but we can't call it Paper Mario, so we're calling it something else. But it's basically a Paper Mario game. Same thing."
Oh, they'd be competing with Bug Fables, though.
Yeah, kind of like how Bug Fables did. That's the thing. That's basically what's going on.
Make the joke that it's more like My Number 9 with Red Ash.
I mean, not really. But anyway, yeah. So you know, I'm just glad that we're getting a Suikoden-esque fix. The art style of this game is gorgeous.
And in addition, we also
it looks good. I mean, it's a shame that these people haven't been able to release a Suikoden game because Konami just abandoned that fucking franchise. But you know, it is what it is. We have Monster Hunter Rise. Capcom just keeps on pimping out that Monster Hunter. Pimped it out. Just pimped it out.
Yeah, it's coming to Steam.
Yeah, they just keep on pimping it out. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I wanted Monster Hunter and I didn't want to play it on the Switch just based on that original demo, that original gameplay footage that they showed of that game, you can get it on Steam now. There's a story coming up later on once we cover these topics where Capcom has revealed a change to their strategy, which is good if you're a PC player. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, I mean, you know, I'm not into Monster Hunter, so you know, I really don't care. But I know there are some people who are. So if you didn't want to buy a Switch or play it on Switch, it's coming to PC. So there you go. It's coming to PC next year. So Sega has revealed Sin Chronicle, which is a new mobile RPG that is based on player decisions that can only ever be made once. The game is heading to iOS and Android devices on December 15th in Japan, and it's a successor, not a sequel, to Chain Chronicle, which was released in 2013 and later came to the PS Vita. Because, you know, people think about those types of things. Yeah, the Vita! which had a very niche audience. But in Japan, you could release a low budget game on the Vita, and the audience was big enough that you could make some money off of it. So I guess that was cool, because people who own Vitas bought games for the shit. So there you go. So Monster Hunter Rise is coming to Steam in January 2022, and here's some of the features. It's gonna feature 4K resolution support, high resolution textures, uncapped frame rates, optimized keyboard and mouse controls, voice chat, and ultra-wide 21:9 display support. Boom! So, I mean, there you go, folks. I guess the best version of Monster Hunter Rise will be on PC.
Oh yeah, guys, do you do the best game that'll come out in 3D?
Yeah, that's the topic after next. Yeah, the topic
Oh,
after
okay.
the topic after the next topic, which is major news of the week in gaming, is 2D series that desperately need 3D games. Monster Hunter Showcase reveals a Sonic and Ghosts and Goblins collaboration and more. So they're all, look, I'm not going to read all this, but basically, Capcom is making Monster Hunter into a major, they've been growing that franchise. Whatever you want to say about Capcom and how they mishandle a lot of their franchises, they've been really growing Monster Hunter, and I give them credit for it.
Yeah, they must. I hope they're buying. I hope not only are they paying that guy good money, but they're buying hookers and steak dinners.
I don't know about that latter part, but they definitely. I mean, that dude is doing his job. They have grown that franchise. Because I remember when Monster Hunter was just very, very, very niche, and now the niche has grown. It's still niche, but it's like it's more mainstream than it was years ago. Phil Spencer wants Xbox to increase its Japanese games lineup. I'm sorry, I tried to say that with a straight face, but I couldn't. I mean, look, listen. If Microsoft, I'm gonna make a serious stab at this. If Microsoft can, what do you guys think? What can Microsoft do to increase their Japanese support?
Make more
Be
platforms
more
and
reliable for
RPGs.
one thing.
For one, not be Microsoft. Essentially, make a console, but create a fake
Be
company. Use the
reliable.
same hardware, right? Use the same create like a fake company, act like it's from Japan. Create like a a system that uses the same hardware as the Xbox, but don't call it the Xbox. That's how I can fix it.
I got
Mario.
a simple one.
No, go ahead.
Just give them better hardware that's not taking up so much space that looks like it's a block of solid gray matter.
So basically, you want them to make essentially an Xbox Series X Mini.
That's at least for the starters.
All right. Okay.
Before they even get their games out the door.
Okay, Kirby.
I'd say make some platformers and JRPGs.
Smart move. I mean, the thing is this, in my humble opinion, Sony has pretty much dropped the ball on JRPGs, because there used to be a time where if you wanted JRPGs, you had to have a Sony console. Like, I would say from the 5th gen to the 6th gen, if you wanted JRPGs, you had to have a Sony console. That was just the way it was. I'm thinking with like the GameCube and the Xbox getting sloppy seconds for the 6th gen, But if you wanted to play JRPGs, and I say this as a huge JRPG fan back in those days, you had to have a PlayStation. That's just the way it was. So, but Sony has dropped the ball from the 7th gen to the 8th gen. Now, considering that a lot of these games are hitting PC, you can't really say, well, this JRPG is exclusively on the Xbox. So really, I just think that at this point, Microsoft they might have to money hat again. Just fund some exclusive JRPGs just to hit the Xbox. But shit that people want. And shit that's not exclusively geared towards the Japanese audience, because like the Japanese aren't gonna buy, no one in Japan's gonna buy enough Xboxes to make it viable for the money hat just in Japan. So they're gonna have to have stuff that has cross market appeal in other markets, but are JRPGs and exclusive to the Xbox and PC. And and Microsoft has the money to do it, so I can't be like, well, it's going to be expensive. They can pull it off, and I'm pulling for them mostly because while I'm not a huge fan of Xbox, even though I have a Series X, just because you own something doesn't mean you have to love it. I will tell you that the video game market is better when all three consoles are doing their best, and not when two of the consoles kind of flappity flip flop, and then one just runs away doing the bare minimum, which is what Sony did last gen. I think we would have had a better 8th gen if Sony and if Microsoft and Nintendo were putting their best foot forward in terms of sales and commercial success and critical success, stuff like that. So, I want to see Microsoft do well just because it'll propel Sony to not be so westernized and say fuck the Japanese market in terms of gaming and stuff like that. But, that's my own personal opinion. More news. Ex-Tango Gameworks developer Ikumi Nakamura is working on a Gungrave sequel. So, another Gungrave, and the Gungrave is coming to PS5. They have PS5 here twice. Apparently no one at IGN actually fucking edits
Wow.
their stuff. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. So,
Also, a lot of those people at IGN don't know how to play video games. But that's neither here nor there.
yeah, and Tango Gameworks is also developing a new game, Evil Within 2 director leading. So Shinji Mikami revealed that the John Johannes, the director of the Evil Within 2, is hard at work in a new game. So there you go, folks. I guess that's cool. Scarlet Nexus and more heading to Xbox Game Pass. Redfall, Starfield, and more will be localized to Japan. No shit. King of Fighters 15. SNK reveals its first all-new character. It's some chick who is not wearing anything appropriate for fighting. She's hot, but
Wow.
not really built for fighting whatsoever. But isn't that every fighting game, especially from Japan? It's like, wow, that's really hot. Not built for combat whatsoever.
Well, Chong-Ling was kind of built.
Yeah, but she wasn't wearing anything appropriate for a fight, though.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Eternal.
Yeah, it's just when people over-sexualize women.
Yeah, but almost every JRPG in the last, since Street Fighter 2 forward, the female characters have been very hypersexualized. Not that I have anything against that. I'm just saying that this character doesn't look that great. But then again,
I guess I'm guilty of not minding that too because I play Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm just saying that they look kind of. She looks a little on the. She's
exposed.
Yeah, like I'm like, look, like the whole time she's doing all these moves and stuff, I'm like, man, those booty shorts are riding up her ass, and that can't be comfortable. You cannot be doing those type of acrobatic moves and be comfortable. Look, I'm saying this as someone who, look, I played athletically. I practiced Muay Thai, played volleyball, played basketball, played baseball, played soccer. I was, I was basically juggling 5 different sports throughout the year from the age of like 13 to 18. Um, so let me tell you, even when you're wearing optimally like sportswear, there are times when shit is gonna get stuck and you're gonna be it is very uncomfortable. And that's when you're wearing shit that's appropriate for what you're doing. Now, this woman is wearing some shit where I'm like, okay. That looks
Too
really
much?
good, but it can't be comfortable. You know? Yeah. But anyway, and but let's move on to the next topic. I think we've gone on far enough. So there's some other major news of the week in gaming. Not a lot, but some big news. So here's one of the big news stories of the week. Capcom wants PC to be its main platform for future games.
I'm mixed about that, but if anything, it makes me wonder what games are they bringing first.
Well, they haven't. This is just something they said, but here's what they've said. Record-setting sales numbers potentially play a role in Capcom's decision to increase focus on PC. The RE series became Capcom's first to surpass 100 million lifetime sales. According to Capcom's investor relations portal, Monster Hunter World has sold 17.3 million units, Resident Evil 7 has sold 9.8, and Monster Hunter World Iceborne has sold 8.2 million units. Those are cross-platform numbers, but PC sales certainly played a big role. So basically, like, these games are selling a lot, and probably maybe 30% of the sales are probably on PC. And that's why they're putting games on PC too. It's a smart move. It's a good business move. It means they reach a wider audience. And I mean, let's keep it real, okay? You know,
PC is a big audience. It's just I'm saying that where are they going to offer the audience?
well, probably games that they think are going to reach that wider audience. They're basically, it's just going to be another platform where their shit's going to be available. You know, it's like when you hear about White Castle offering their frozen burgers at your local supermarket. Because let's keep it real. White Castle isn't available everywhere. It's an actual restaurant where you can drive through. But hey, you can always go to the store and get
Really
the
true.
frozen ones. So that's basically what they're doing. They're increasing their footprint for where you can
Their
buy their
reach.
games. Smart move. I think they should have done it years ago because there's a ton of games that Capcom could put on PC that would do really well. I think, but that's my own personal opinion. Anyway, let's get to the next topic.
Wait, I want to say something about it.
Go ahead.
I was really hoping that Street
Yes.
Fighter 6 would be exclusive to the Nintendo console.
Come on,
That
man.
ain't gonna happen.
That-
That ain't gonna happen.
Okay,
not
dude.
gonna happen.
Let's keep it real, okay? Every time Capcom has had a Street Fighter that was console exclusive, it failed really hard. Okay?
Oh, even Street Fighter 3?
Even Street Fighter 3. It started with Street
Wow.
Fighter 3. Street Fighter should never be console exclusive on anything. Okay? The reason Street Fighter succeeds is because you can play it on everything. That's why Street Fighter does well. Because you can play it on, if you got a console or a PC, you can play Street Fighter. That's what makes it a good franchise. Making it console exclusive weakens that game. I mean, look at Street Fighter 5. That was like one of the lowest selling Street Fighters of all time because it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
And it was bare bones.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that,
True.
but even if it was good, it was only on one console. I mean, Street
I
Fighter.
had people.
No, go ahead.
I remember. I think Splatoon came out either a year before, or at least it came out. It didn't come out too long before. People were defending Street Fighter Five
Yeah, they
when they
were.
were like, well, Splatoon hardly had anything. But
Yeah,
yet you
but
have an established. But yet you had an established IP
yeah,
that people knew about coming out bare bones like that. That's pretty bad.
yeah, but I mean, the difference between Splatoon is that first of all, Splatoon was a new IP. Second of all, Splatoon is what it is. It doesn't try to be anything but what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Splatoon isn't trying to do this over here. It's not trying to be this guy over here. Splatoon is what it is.
It was a new thing. It was trying to be its own flavor.
You know,
And what is Street Fighter 5 trying to be?
it was a Street Fighter game, but it was a very low budget. You could tell they cut the budget for that game.
If they cut the budget
Yeah.
worse than some of the other things they cut,
Well,
I'd say they need to watch their calories.
you can tell when Capcom releases a game and they've cheaped out. And there's certain aspects of, like, they did the same thing with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity. That game had, like, in development, they cheaped out on developing that game. They went very cheap on certain aspects of developing that game. And you can tell. I mean, and the thing is like, anyone in business can tell you got to spend money to make money. Okay? And sometimes, you got to put the money in to do the shit right. Because going back over to fix it after the fact makes shit worse. And that's what happened to Capcom. That's why Final Fantasy. That's why Street Fighter 5.
I was gonna make the comment that it's gonna be like Street Fighter versus Street Fighter X Tekken.
Yeah. When you go cheat like that, don't be surprised that your games don't turn out very well. But, it is what it is. So, yeah, I guess we can move on to the next topic, which is 2D series that desperately need 3D games. Now, this doesn't mean that the series never had a 3D game. It could be a series that had a 3D game, but the 3D game sucked.
Ooh.
You could also add those in there, too. So, what 2D series, it's traditionally mostly 2D, desperately needs a 3D game? And who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
Donkey Kong and Ice Climbers.
Okay, how would that work?
Well, Donkey Kong would be a little more like 3D world, and Ice Climbers, it could be like a survival type game, but like I don't really know how it'd work, but I just want to see a new Ice Climbers game, whether it's 2D or 3D.
All right, okay.
But it's not going to happen.
I mean, I won't say it's not going to happen. Anything could happen. Hell, I could walk out of my front yard and a bag of money could fall out the sky and land right in front of me. I could.
It's unlikely.
I could go buy.
It can happen.
I could go buy a lotto ticket and win the big jackpot. It could. Anything could happen. It's highly unlikely, but it could happen.
Shigeru Mo could come to my house.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely, but it could happen. So who wants to go next? Kanoshi? Joel?
I had to think about it, and one of the ones I think that might work if it's done right would be Mischief Makers. Have an interactive 3D world a little bit, where you could shake and throw some stuff around to try to solve puzzles, to do some villains, and maybe even do some 2D 3D sections like Soul Calibur like.
I'd be cool with that. I mean, you'd have to get Treasure back on board, and because Treasure ain't been doing shit for years at this point, just re-releasing their old shit. But I'd be cool with it.
Oh,
Hey, I did go for the makers of Mischief Makers, so that would be a good idea.
I already have an idea on how that game would look. That game would look like Wario Land for the GameCube because that was also made by Treasure.
Dang.
oh,
The whole shake mechanic, because Wario could do that. Like Wario could pick up enemies and throw them around, and actually it was almost like a beat 'em up. Like you could pick up enemies and pile drive them and beat the shit out of them. I was like, damn, this is pretty good. The only
Yeah.
downside is that the pause screen had the most
Marine
annoying
Lighters could use a
sound
pile driver
ever.
for some of those fights.
Actually, the game was kind of easy. Finding all the treasures and restoring them to Wario's castle and fighting the final boss. Bosses were kind of easy. Now, some of the 3D puzzles where you had to like trigger certain things in order to get the treasure, those were kind of tough because 3D games where you have precision jumping, even back during the 6th gen, was a motherfucker, and it's just it hasn't gotten much better now. Like if like even now, if you have a 3D game and you need to do precise precision jumping, and it's a 3D space, and you like the physics, the camera is going to be your greatest enemy versus actual enemies trying to fight you. But that's neither here nor there. That's cool, Joel. Kenoshi, do you have a 2D game that you desperately think needs to have its 3D Mario 64 moment?
Mega Man. I don't think Mega Man
Oh,
had its
yes.
moment.
No, you could do it.
wasn't there Mega Man Legends?
Yeah, they kind of did it with Mega Man Legends. Like you could totally do like a Mega Man Legends esque.
How many Mega Man Legends?
There's 2. There's
I
only
was gonna
2.
make the joke that how many Mega Man Legends games did we get canceled on?
Plus Tron Bon. Well, I mean, there was supposed to be a third one that was supposed to wrap the trilogy up, and then Hideki Kamiya, not Hideki Kamiya, Keiji Inafune left, and Capcom got mad and fucking canceled all the projects. I'm like, that's some vindictive ass shit right there. That's just vindictive. But that's Capcom. They're a vindictive company. So yeah. I guess it's my turn. I would like to see a 3D Earthworm Gym. Now, hear me out. I know Earthworm Gym 3D came out, and it was terrible. But there's a lot of franchises that people were like, if they made the jump to 3D, that were terrible. But really, functionally, other games have kind of hit that niche for what that game could be if you made it 3D. For example, if you did a Earthworm Jim 3D game correctly, imagine if you took the gameplay style from Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter, but it was Earthworm Jim. Just Earthworm Jim. And you'd totally have an Earthworm Jim game. I mean, you'd have to have the disgusting sense of humor, so Earthworm Jim would have to have his backpack / parachute snot.
Say, there's a lot of things that Earthworm Jim got away with, especially with his foes. If I remember right, one of them was so long it was a tongue twister.
Yeah, there's his handgun, which is literally a gun in his hand, like stuff like that. Okay, like do a 3D Earthworm Jim game. Don't make it into a Ratchet and Clank clone. I would say if you wanted to do it, make a or not. Don't make it into a make it.
I just remember the weird fact that they almost did an Earthworm Jim 3D game.
No, they did. They did a 3D Earthworm Jim game. It just sucked. It was terrible. It was on the N64 and the Dreamcast, and I want to say the original PS1 and PC. It was terrible. It was a steaming pile of dog shit. But I think technology has come forward enough that we can do it. You know, we can make an Earthworm Gym game that's actually good. Case in point, Earthworm Gym 3D. That game was on. Um, oh, sorry. It was only on PC and N64. So there you go. So, I mean, I think it's time. I think it's time to bring it back.
In a good way.
Yeah, I think you. I mean, because here's the thing: how many people said you could never make a 3D Castlevania game, and to be fair, most of the 3D Castlevania games that have come out, I thought were utter and complete garbage. Even those ones made by Mercury Steam, I was like, these games are terrible. But then you go play Darksiders 1 and 2, and those are basically Castlevania games.
And they're good.
And they're good, yeah. So you could totally do an Earthworm Jim game if you took the gameplay concepts like Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter and combined it. Because Earthworm Jim just was doing the same shit you do in a Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter. It had the platforming and like area exploration of a Jak and Daxter with the space planet hopping of a Ratchet and Clank. Combine those two, and you could totally do Earthworm Jim. And there's enough, like you're going into space, you're flying to different planets. You could totally have that basically be the general idea behind an Earthworm Jim game, a 3D Earthworm Jim game. It could totally work. That's my own personal opinion. Any other game 2D series that you're like, man, this needs a 3D game, a good 3D game, not a terrible one? Before we move on to the next topic.
Contra, I mean, like they've tried many times, but
They have.
I felt like Contra Roll Corps was kind of good. I know people disagree with me on that, but
What, Hardcore?
no, Rogue Corps, the recent one.
Rogue Core?
Rogue Corps.
The S is silent.
Oh yeah, Rogue Corps.
Yeah, Rogue Core. The S and the P are silent.
Oh.
I get it. Yeah. I know a lot of people didn't like that game, and I played it, and I was like, it's okay. I think they could do better. Yeah, I mean, it's not that it was terrible. I just felt like that it could be better. You know,
Yeah.
it could be better. I think if you're going to do a Contra, a truly 3D Contra, I think the best way to do it will be maybe take a page out of a Metroidvania.
Oh.
Like, for example,
But have it be a lot harder.
Well, the thing is, you land on an island to rescue some scientists and shit who are studying like the mutagenic effects of Red Falcon's biocontamination, and like you basically go around, and as you rescue those people and bring them back to base, the base gets built up. You get a special ability that lets you open up other new areas, stuff like that. Like, to me, that would be like kind of like what I would want a 3D Contra to be. Like, the idea of one-shot death, I'm like, okay, that was fine for 2D when you could sit down and beat a Contra game in 30, 40 minutes. 20 minutes if you really knew what you were doing. But like now, you need something a little bit more substantial. So that's why I said Metroidvania style gameplay.
Right. Okay.
Because once you go 3D, the same shit. Like, if they made a 3D game that was functionally the same as what you had in a 2D game, people would get mad because they'd feel like they were getting cheated. You have to up your game if you just basically translate a 2D gameplay style to a 3D format. It comes across as lazy, like a lot of those 3D Sonic games. But that's neither here nor there. Anyone has anything else they want to add to 2D series that desperately need 3D games before we move on to the next topic? Kanoshi?
It seems like a lot of the 3D Sonic games are, at least some of the fan made ones are. It seems like they're trying to, especially when they try to remake the game, the original in 3D. They're just rehashing the 2D games rather than actually. I don't know how to explain it. Building the,
Moving it forward. They're just kind of
moving
coasting
it
on what they
forward.
already know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it just doesn't.
I get it.
Something about it doesn't look right.
I get it. I
It's
get
kind
it.
of empty.
Like, people got mad at me when I said that the Super Mario 3D Anniversary Collection, like their Super Mario 64 was lazy and uninspired. The port was lazy and uninspired. People got mad at me. They're like, "How could you say that?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we already saw what Super Mario 64 would look like if you redid the engine from the ground up in a more modern engine." And Super Mario Galaxy 2 and the special galaxies towards the end of the game, like, you could go back to Bob-omb Battlefield. You could go back to Thwomp's Fortress. And you're like, man, if they remade Super Mario 64 in this engine, it'd be fucking amazing. No.
Yeah, camera problems would be improved. I think it'd be like one of my favorite 3D Mario games.
No.
Even
you
a little
can't
more
do
in
that.
Galaxy, maybe, depending on what they do. I mean, if they have default, like if they have it less slippery, that'd also be good. But I don't know if they could do that.
They could do that. I'm just saying, like, that would be cool to me if they remade the original Super Mario 64. Because Super Mario 64 was the best we could do at the time. Right? It defined 3D gaming. But, like, look at how far 3D gaming has come and all the tricks and experience that people have gotten. You could do so much better if, like, with some of the stuff that's in that game. Make a remake of Super Mario 64 in like a more modern 3D Mario engine. Maybe add the extra content from the DS game, and maybe do some remixed courses. Kind of like how they did in Super Mario Galaxy 2, where you go to Thwomp's Fortress and you're like, I beat Thwomp. And then this hole opens up and you jump inside of it. And then it flips the entire planet, and then you have to fight an even bigger Thwomp on the other side. Like, do some stuff like that. I think that would be awesome.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking after you get 120 stars, Bowser kidnaps the princess again. And then he goes to his castle, and you get to see Bowser's castle in 3D, and it's kind of like an overworld, and there's like a few more.
So it would be like Bowser's. It would be like the It would be like the expansion they added to Super Mario 3D World, where you're basically like having to like run around and do stuff so that you can stop Bowser's evil powers from destroying the world. Yeah, I get it. I like it.
This was something I thought of when I was like 16 years old. Like,
All right.
except for it was more in game form. Except for I thought of it as like a bigger game. Like, I thought like it'd be cool if you could get in an airplane and shoot down Bowser's airships and then go Bowser's castle.
That'd be cool. Although probably in a Mario game, it probably wouldn't be airships. You'd probably have to have like Lakitu's cloud cars, which Mario has jacked Lakitu's cloud cars in other games, especially in Super Mario World. Oh boy, he loves knocking that poor bastard out of that cloud car, and so that he can fall to his death. Yeah, Mario games are so kid friendly.
I was about to say it's true, but he does have his own plane. If you remember Super Mario Land.
Yeah, but the Super Mario Land is so far removed from Super Mario, from the mainline Mario games.
Yeah,
Then again, that's the same game that gave. That's the same game series that gave us Wario.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'd be cool with that if Mario had a, because then it'd be a throwback to like Super Mario Land, where like Mario gets like a submarine and a jet, and he shoots down Tatanga, or even better, you think Bowser kidnapped the princess, but you get to his castle and they bring back Tatanga, the space monster. Like Bowser's tied up in a closet and it's really Tatanga. He's like, it was me all along.
Maybe that'd be good for a last
He pulled a reverse
Mario
Wily.
game.
Anyway, but let's move on to the next topic. October games we're looking forward to. So there's a ton of games coming out in October. I have a list right here. I know some people will not like these games, but it's a good cross. Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
It's a good cross section of games from different genres, different audiences might find appealing. So the first game is FIFA 22. It's FIFA. It's releasing on everything. Of course, the Switch is getting the shittiest version of the game. But
why am I not surprised?
I mean, come on. That's what EA does. But it's coming to PC. It came out yesterday. It came to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. And it's FIFA, so yay, I guess.
EA, money in our game.
Yeah. Or as I like to call them, EA, evil attitude. So then there's Alan Wake Remastered. I heard Alan Wake is a really good game. I never played it. I'm not a big Alan Wake fan. Not that I dislike Alan Wake. I'm just not really all that into it. But, each his own. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Of course.
But the remaster is releasing with the 2 expansions. I don't know how much it's going to cost. It's probably $30 to $50. But I mean, you do get Alan Wake. I think is a very highly critically rated game. So you get what a lot of people consider to be a great horror game for a decent amount of money. So I mean, that's good. So you get Far Cry 6 is the next game that's coming out this month. It's coming out October 7th. So
what game? Far Cry 6?
Far Cry 6. It's coming out Thursday next week. Yeah, it's
how many of these can you play? Like you play one Far Cry, you play them all.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's like, let me drive to the tower to unlock the rest of the map. Let me do these myriad of side quests that are ultra grindy. Or you can spend real world money to get fake in-game money so that you can make it a little bit easier to upgrade your shit. Far Cry. I mean, and plus, I boycotted Ubisoft, so it's a moot point. I boycotted Ubisoft. Next, we have Metroid Dread, which is coming out October 8th. That's a Friday, a.k.a. Metroid 5.
Get the
Can't wait.
Yeah, I already pre-ordered mine digitally, so it's just going to download onto my stuff. I'm kind of pissed that it's being made by Mercury Steam, because there's nothing that they've made that I've enjoyed. I didn't like that Metroid 2 remake they made, because I was like, this is not Metroid 2.
Really?
No. It's not. It is not Metroid 2. I don't know what that shit is, but it is not Metroid 2. They called it that, but that's not what it was.
Well, how is it Metroid 2? Like, did it not have the atmosphere? Did it not have...
Let's see. They added a whole bunch of stuff that is not conducive to a 2D Metroid game.
Oh. I guess you're right.
Now, if that was an open world 3D game, like a Metroid Prime, then I'd be like, okay, this is a Metroid Prime spinoff.
Mhm.
But the thing is, when I play a 2D Metroid game, I want it to be a 2D Metroid game, not a Metroid Prime game. And yet
Okay, so it's a gameplay.
they keep on fusing Metroid Prime elements into 2D Metroid games, which is pissing me off because they're two completely different styles of gameplay, even though they star essentially the same character.
At least I could agree with you on that because there's a difference between Metroid Prime and the Metroid games, basically.
And I don't want to hear people say, well, Samus Returns. Look, the first Metroid game I beat was Samus Returns on the Game Boy. Okay, I played that game a lot back in the day. Okay, I know that game backwards and forwards. I could play that game with my eyes closed. Okay.
For me, the Metroid games that I finished and remember are the first two I actually played, which is Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, and so I don't want to hear that Nintendo isn't good at making remakes of their older games. Because I'll tell you right now, don't play the original Metroid on the NES or the Game Boy Advance if you get the Classics Collection. Play Metroid Zero Mission. It is a much better version of the original Metroid. And then they made Metroid 2, Samus Returns. And that game is not very good. I'm sorry. It's not very. I don't like the art style. I don't like the art style. I don't like the extra shit they added from like the Prime series. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that they lock
I actually don't mind the gameplay, but
behind Amiibo. I don't like it. I don't like that game.
If it's a required necessity, then I could really say no.
Not even required. I don't like the design philosophy behind that game. I don't like the stuff they added from Metroid Prime. I don't like the studio behind it. I don't like the art style. There's so many things I don't like about that game.
The frame rate.
I do not like Metroid 2 Samus Returns, the Mercury Steam remake.
Well, you should try AM2R.
I have. I personally, I think that's a better Metroid 2 remake than what Mercury Steam came out with. Because the AM2R basically looks like someone took the art style from Fusion and Zero Mission and said, "Hey, what if we use the same engine to make Metroid 2 Samus Returns?" And it works. Lo and behold, that's what I wish Nintendo would have fucking done. But no, we need to make it 3D because these people can't handle sprites and cell shaded. No. Hate that shit.
That was my problem with the game. That's why I didn't like the art style of Nintendo's remake.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to cancel my digital pre-order and get it physically so that if I don't like it, I can sell it. Because
it's not going to turn out like Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm doing it at least guaranteed.
I didn't like. Well, I never said it was. The thing is that I don't like this studio, and they're making another Metroid game, and I don't like. None of the games they've made I've liked. So if I don't like any of those games, like I've given them 3 chances. Those 2 god awful Castlevania games, the Metroid 2 Samus Returns remake, which I fucking hate that game. And now, they're doing Metroid 5, and I'm like, just from the looks, it looks like more Metroid 2 Samus Returns remake, and I hate that game. So, I mean, I'm invested in this character, but I really don't like a lot of the people behind this game. That's all I'm going to say on that. But I'm going to get a physical copy, I'm going to play through it, and if I don't like it, I'll trade that shit in or sell it. But, I don't want to say I hate it before I play it, but I'm probably going to play it, I'm probably going to beat it, and then I'll probably get rid of it after I'm done. Because I don't like that fucking Mercury Steam. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that studio. I was mad when Nintendo, when they said Nintendo bought them. I was like, fuck. Now they can ruin Nintendo shit like they ruined Castlevania, and I hate it. But I was right.
Maybe they should make a Mario game.
They ruined that shit too. Then we have Back for Blood, which is it's basically Left 4 Dead 3. It's Left 4 Dead 3. That's basically what it is. And it's coming to everything but the Switch.
Not even a cloud version.
Not even a cloud version. It's like all I have is a Switch. You get nothing. like Willy Wonka at the end of Willy Wonka.
Surprised.
Like at the end of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you get nothing. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. Therefore, you get nothing. Nothing. Nunca. Zero. Zilch. I'm kind of upset because I actually like this game, and if all I had was a Switch, I'd be mad because I love Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. But hey, I've got a PC and an Xbox Series X, so I'm good. So I'll definitely be playing this game.
Yeah, that's on Game Pass, isn't it? No, that's not on Game
I don't
Pass.
think it is, but you know, look, man,
probably
it's
put
Left 4
that in.
Dead. I'll get it. You know, what is it gonna be like $60? If it
Yeah.
has the support that Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 did, it's probably going to be around for years. So I'm okay with that. NHL 22. It's coming to everything but the Switch.
Course.
Which is weird because it's from EA and EA's putting this on everything but the Switch. I guess Switch gamers don't like hockey. I don't know. The next game is House of Ashes. It's the third game from the Dark Pictures anthology following Man of Medan and Little Hope. And it follows an American Special Forces soldier, a group of American Special Forces soldiers who find themselves in a Sumerian temple full of unimaginable horrors. As soon as they said Sumerian temple, I was like, well, they're fucked. But most of the action happens underground in a small rooms and tight quarters that bring a claustrophobic feeling of no hope for escape. So characters are deep, but how much of their backstories will be revealed is entirely up to you. Well, the Dark Pictures games are basically like horror adventure games where you talk. It's just you going from room to room talking to people. And as you talk and click on it progresses time, which lets you click on certain things in the environment and progress the story along. Basically, I mean, I heard some people like those games. I'm not a fan of them. I like my horror games to have more gameplay. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. In this game, you control Peter Quill, an intergalactic rogue known as Star-Lord, and a leader of a small team consisting of Drax, Gamora, Rocket, and Groot. It's worth mentioning that all the characters are much closer to their description in the comic book series, which makes them a bit different than what we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a bread and butter third-person shooter. Peter Quill is the only playable character, but you can still spend experience points to unlock and upgrade the moves of your teammates. In combat, Star-Lord uses his dual blasters as go-to weapons, but he also has access to special effects from the element gun. Finally, mastering the hover boots will let you maneuver with ease through the battlefield, and it's coming to PC, Switch, and PS4. So, and this is being published by Square Enix. It's being made by Eidos Montreal, I think. So, I mean, it's coming to the Switch, but it's a cloud version, so
Why am I not surprised?
better have a good connection, or else.
Yeah.
Or else. That game is gonna fail. It's gonna fail on you. Age of Empires 4 is coming out October 28th. So for those of you who always want to play as the Zulus or the Egyptians and murder the shit out of everybody else in an Age of Empires game, here you go. So, Age of Empires. It's like World of Warcraft, but real. With real nations and not fake ones. And finally, Super Mario Party All Stars.
Oh,
So it's just a whole bunch of mini games and a few classic vintage boards. It's coming to the Switch on October 29th.
I can already tell you're not enthusiastic.
Well, I'm not a Mario Party fan, so, but it's here, for those of you who are Mario Party fans, here you go. If you have to
It's-
play a game where your fortunes are at the whim of a shitty rubber banding computer algorithm that makes sure if you're kicking everyone's ass, the dice are going to roll against you and you're going to get screwed at the end. Mario Party, folks. Mario
Yeah.
Party.
Hey, it's the game that ends relationships, among other things.
No, I'll tell
I
you what
wonder if
ends
anybody's
relationships.
people.
I wonder if anybody's gotten divorced over Mario Party.
No, but I'm pretty sure people have gotten yelled at and called all types of horrible names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a Mario Party fan, so I can't really. I've never
Yeah.
liked Mario Party. Even back on the N64, I was like, I don't care. I don't like minigame collections. That's my thing. I've never liked minigame collections in video game form.
Then I'm surprised that you're not a fan of that you're a fan of WarioWare.
I'm not a fan of WarioWare. I've already said I've never liked WarioWare. I don't like minigame collections. Like WarioWare, okay, let me put this way. WarioWare, okay. WarioWare is fine if it's like a $20, $30 game. WarioWare being a $60 game for that amount of content, not worth it.
Oh, I
To
thought
me.
it's $50.
That's
Not
still,
that makes
to
any
me,
sense.
that's too high.
Yeah.
So, a WarioWare game for $30, okay. A WarioWare game for $20, perfect. A WarioWare game for like 50, 60, you know, 50, 60, stuff, I'm not. 50 to 60 is too much
Yeah.
for a WarioWare game. Especially when what you're essentially selling me is a whole bunch of mini games. Like a mini game collection. I mean, I don't like mini game collections. It's the reason why I didn't like the only reason I bought Pokemon Stadium back in the day was so that I could store my Pokemon physically on the cartridge. And if you beat the game, if you beat certain challenges, it increased your walking speed in the base Pokemon games. If you connected them. That was the only reason I got Pokemon Stadium. I didn't care about those mini game collections they had on there. I was like, I don't want these mini game
Pokemon
collections.
Stadium was just a.
It was a
bad
cash
game.
grab. Yeah, it was a crappy cash grab.
Pokemon Stadium was not a good game. It was one of those games you played as a kid. Like, oh man, look at all the Pokemon in 3D. But looking back, that game was not good. I mean, the Pokemon fighting game, that's. While it's not perfect, that's kind of how I envision a real Pokemon Stadium game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Just the way I feel about it is this. I think, I don't like minigame collections. I didn't like Pokemon Stadium. I liked Pokemon, the two Pokemon Stadium games that came to the GameCube, Gale of Darkness and XD. I like those games. But the ones on the N64 were just shameless cash grabs. And I stand by that statement. I mean, it's the Pokemon Company. Of course they're shameless cash grabs because the Pokemon Company, look, let me put it this way. If all the money on the world just if the earth exploded and the economy crashed, the Pokemon Company would find a way to make money. Okay, because they will find a way. You know, Jurassic Park, where Ian Malcolm's like, life finds a way. The Pokemon Company finds a way to make money. Okay,
Yeah.
and they will pimp out that little Pikachu. They will make their money.
Yeah. There's a meme where it showed Pokemon looking like Pikachu, and it said "Boomer's vision of Pokemon."
But I mean, like I said, I don't like mini game collections in video game form. Because to me, they just like, okay, unless you're doing something really, really amazing in your mini game collections, like those Box Boy games from HAL.
Oh yeah, those were good.
Like those are essentially little mini puzzles, but those games weren't full price
They're
and
consistent.
they were really like really experimental, and I'm okay with that. But if you're like charging me $50, $60, $70 for a mini game collection, no, take that shit and shove it up your ass. As far as I'm concerned. Anyway, which leads to the next and final. I think this is the final topic. Let me check. Check. Yes, the final topic. The A-hole of the week. It's time to nominate our A-holes of the week. So who wants to go first?
Sadly, we have to nominate the one person that somehow always seems to come into this right when we don't want them.
Well,
Thank you, Activision Blizzard.
Well, there's actually more than Activision Blizzard. There's Konami for releasing a free-to-play game that apparently is missing a lot of features, and they're getting review bombed for it. And I'm like, I don't get what you're so upset about. I mean, it's free to play. What did you expect from Konami? Like, you know, this isn't Konami from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This isn't Konami from 10 years ago. This isn't even Konami from 5 years ago. This is current Konami. This is Konami that couldn't find their ass with two hands.
Mm.
They couldn't find their ass with two hands, and they couldn't find
with a compass.
Yeah, they couldn't find their ass with two hands, a compass, and a map.
Oh. So let's see. We got Konami, Activision Blizzard, the reigning champion.
We've got Konami, Activision Blizzard. Anyone else you guys want to nominate as A-hole of the weekend gaming where it's like you have just been messing up? EA, perhaps?
I'd say I would say Epic for making us feel sorry for Apple of all things, but that's a iffy one.
I don't feel sorry for any of them.
What, for Konami? You don't feel sorry for Konami?
Yeah, I thought she said making people feel sorry for Apple or Epic.
I mean, like
I called out Epic for making some people feel sorry for Apple.
I mean, I don't really feel sorry for them. I feel justification because, I mean, Epic broke their contract with Apple. I mean, the contract is if you use someone's store, you can't put a link that circumvents them getting their cut of, you know, it's like if a vendor sells a product in your store and they put someone in the store who hands you the product and you pay them and the store doesn't get their cut. What type of bullshit is that? Like, if you owned a business and someone was doing that with physical products, you'd be like, get the fuck out of my store. You can't sell your shit here. And people are mad. Oh, they should. It's like, look, what did Epic expect? Okay? Like,
Yeah, that's the thing that's making me wonder. What are you people expecting Apple to do when Epic is trying to go around and to get around their shop?
I mean,
It's
that's
like trying to
basic
sell the back
business.
alley
Epic wants
for
to
them.
Epic wants to use their platform without paying. Who here would let someone use, if you owned a business, would let someone use your business and not pay you a cut for using your business? No one. And now let's take it a step
I was about
further.
to say you have to be you have to have the intelligence level of amoeba in order to have that happen.
Now let's take it a step further. Not only do they try and circumvent your ability to circumvent
gain
your
money.
platform and cut you out, but still use your platform, but they take you to court, making you spend money in a trial, which is expensive. Okay? because they don't want to, they broke the contract. Like,
As I said, you have to have the intelligence level of an amoeba in order to agree with Epic on that point.
Would you guys be like, yeah, you can come back into my store and sell your shit? Sure, yeah. I mean, I'd be a little vindictive, and I'm generally a nice person when it comes to business. I don't try to take unfair advantage of
I'd be
people.
willing to shotgun and asking for my money up front before they even try to do anything like that again.
But if you're an evil business like Apple, where their DNA is Steve Jobs, you know, the man who wouldn't pay his child support, so his daughter was living off of government subsidies because he claimed it wasn't his child. I mean, when you got that type of DNA in the makeup of your company, do you honestly think Epic is just, Apple was like, yeah, sure, yeah, come on in. They're banned. They're banned from the Apple store. And you know what? If Google had balls, they'd ban their asses too. They'd be like, "Oh, so you wanna steal our money but use our platform? Guess what? You can't be on our platform."
Yeah. And that's the thing. I agree with Apple for kicking them off.
You know.
And it makes me wish that Google would do that kind of stunt too for trying to do such a stunt.
But anyway, that's
a tirade for another day.
But anyway, so we have 2 nominees for A-hole of the week. And it's Konami and Activision Blizzard for basically essentially settling a EEOC case, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, where they basically settled for $18 million. Really, it should be higher than that because this is affecting a lot of people at that company, but you know, the government never kicks companies who are in the wrong in the balls like they should. They always use kit gloves. But you know, it's a start. So anyway, what are you guys' thoughts on it? So those are our 2 choices. So who is our A-hole of the week? Konami for releasing a free-to-play unfinished game, or Activision Blizzard for essentially admitting that they've been doing some shady stuff with a settlement with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Much as I love to try to not give it an easy victory, Activision Blizzard.
All right, Kenoshi.
What was the other offensive?
For whom? Konami?
Yeah.
Well, Konami just Konami released a free-to-play game that was missing features. But I mean, a lot of free-to-play games are released that are missing features. People are review bombing them for releasing a free-to-play game that was missing features. But I'm like, it's free-to-play.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to go with the Activision again.
All right. The only reason I'm saying that it's not a big deal with Konami is because it's free to play. Now, if they were charging people for it and it was missing stuff, I'd be like, hey, that ain't right. But I mean, like it's like someone it's like someone going to a restaurant, right? To an event, and they're saying, hey, the food is free. And you sit down and the food is basic. It's basic as hell. It's like some chips and some bologna sandwiches, some sweet tea, maybe some chicken salad sandwiches. Nothing really exciting or wow, amazing. It's not terrible. It's just basic. And then you're like, this food is terrible. It's like, it's free. What are you complaining about? It's free. Stop complaining. Now, if they were charging you for it, like the Fire Festival, where people paid like thousands of dollars and got like a cheese sandwich with no condiments and one of those little tiny half-liter, half-quart juice bottles, water bottles, and you paid like $3,000, then yeah, you can complain. I paid $30 for this game. It's missing features. Hey, that ain't right. This game is free. It's missing features. Shut the fuck up. It's free. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Anyway, so yeah, Activision Blizzard once again, a-hole of the week. They just they can't stop themselves. Without fail, they cannot stop themselves. So that's the end of the cast. We ended a little bit early. Started a little bit late, ended a little bit early. Anything you guys want to... we got a few minutes left before the end of the cast. Any quick topics you guys want to knock out before we wrap things up?
A quick question, since I'm actually curious. Since Monster Crown's coming out for the Switch soon, I was about to ask, what's your opinion about it?
Monster Crown. I think I have that on PC. Let me check. Monster Crown. Yes, I have it. Yes. It's basically like a better version of Pokemon, except with a more in-depth combat system. You can actually fuse monsters together and create like new monsters.
True
and stuff.
hybrids in a sense.
Yeah. It's still early access though, so I played it a little bit, and I'll come back to it once it hits version 1.0.
I was asking that because estimated release date for this game is the 12th.
Well, hopefully it'll hit 1.0 by then. At this point, I'm just burnt out on Pokemon. I think Pokemon there's no competition, so they just don't really add anything new to it. It's just the same shit over and over again. So
I would say that thank them for doing stupid a few years ago for triggering all these uprises, or at least attempted uprises.
I mean, anything new, I'm okay with. Like, I'm just burnt out on basic Pokemon. Like, I'm burnt out on Pokemon because back in the day, like people forget. Back in the day, we had if you didn't like Pokemon, there was all this other Pokemon-like stuff that could scratch that itch without it being Pokemon. We had the game.
Monster Ranchers.
Yeah, Monster Rancher. You had the games from Atlas that were not Atlas. Irem that were basically Pokemon except with robots, which was cool. And you could actually get
Roboton.
you could get new
I
robots with like infrared with your TV remote and radio signals and stuff. I mean, like
yeah.
there were like
We even had
Pokemon clones that
Metapods,
were cool.
which
Yeah,
is weird.
there were Pokemon clones that were cool. Now it's all Pokemon, and Pokemon is just. I mean, they are lazy. They don't do anything new with that franchise. You know, most of the time it's them stripping features out from previous versions of the game in the new iterations. Hey, remember when the Pokedex had like all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cutting it down to a third.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the red flag that told me that I should stop before anything else goes off.
So they're lazy. They're just lazy. And I mean, why should I constantly why should I support lazy developers? So like I just, I'm not spending money with a lazy developer because, I have other things to spend my money on.
Yeah, at least I asked. So at least
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. So that's the end of this cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. All of our links, if you want to get in touch with the channel, email, Discord, they're all in the description. You can be a member on our Discord.
And Twitter.
Yes, Twitter, email, it's all there. There are some rules on the Discord. They aren't too
They aren't too huge.
yeah, they aren't too huge. It's just basic stuff like, hey, don't say hateful things, don't be a douche, basic stuff like that. Sometimes people do that. So that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, peace, good night, and
Hype response.